Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. First of all, I just want to thank you for taking a look at my channel. I appreciate you sticking around. Let me know in the comment section below by the end of the video if you like what you saw. Maybe it'll motivate me to do more videos like this, but I've gotten to the point where I can't hold back. I really do want to start pushing out this kind of a video. It seems that it's a reoccurring problem every time I Google Fortnite, and the first things I usually see is an article about how something went wrong with someone's child in some sort of way, like a very negative way 99% of the time. Like, I never ever see anything positive. Not that the news is supposed to report anything positive. I feel like they should sometimes, but whatever, I'm not in charge. I have nothing to do with it. But back to my main point. When I went on Google earlier this morning, today's Monday, so the version 4.4, I believe, update just came out, releasing the thermal scoped AR and all that stuff. So I went to Google and I typed in Fortnite, honestly expecting to see anything about like the update, and trust me, there was a lot, but right off the top, the first article I saw was that this 9-year-old girl, I don't know where, I don't know what she looks like or anything, not that it matters. I think they should keep her identity, away from everyone else from seeing. But anyways, the first thing I see is this 9-year-old girl, I guess, wet herself because she didn't want to stop playing the game. And I can see why her parents would be concerned. I definitely can. When reading deeper into the article, I'll pull it up right now. I had it on my phone recently, so I'm just gonna take a quick look. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it says girl, this is literally the headline. It says girl, 9, in rehab for Fortnite addiction after becoming so hooked she wets herself to keep playing. Now, don't get me wrong. 100% understand if she was like top 3 and it was like her first win or something like that. I would have done the same thing, 100%. But I doubt it. So I'm not going to say it's justifiable. But it says on the bottom, whatever you call it, the context there says that her horrified parents told how their primary school child is in intensive therapy after getting hooked on the apocalyptic game. And then the article just goes on to using all these like horrible words like horrified and disgusting and all these things about their daughter having to basically be put into rehab in order to control her addiction to this game. And I go on Google to look up a little bit more because I've seen something like this before. I remember people were saying that they wanted to ban Fortnite, and honestly, that's ridiculous. That's stupid. I don't think they would ever do anything like that. At least I would hope not. There's absolutely no reason for it. I mean, certain parents believe they have reason for it, but I don't think it's the right reasoning, and I don't think that they look deeper into the actual subject, that the actual problem that they're facing with their own child or their own family members or friends or whatever. So I'm looking at this other article. This is more recent, so June 7th, and the article I'm talking about parents trying to sue was a little bit further back, I believe in like April or March, around there. So this is before the game's even as popular as it is now. But the headline of this article is that parents are losing their sons to Fortnite. Apparently daughters too, according to that other article. But sons to Fortnite, the hottest game in the world. It says, if you haven't heard of the game Fortnite, you probably haven't got a teenage son. And I mean, I work at a Mexican restaurant, and in my bar area, every so often we play the news, and there are certain days where even on the news I see certain skits about Fortnite, or whatever you call them, certain cuts about Fortnite, segments, there you go. So I'm reading more into this, and it says boys between the age of 10 and 17 have been stealing their parents' credit card to buy gear and costumes for their character, staying up all night, or setting the alarm after their parents have gone to bed so that they could find a few extra hours to play, pulling out of weekend sports, blah blah blah, playing it in class, we've all heard that one, screaming like toddlers when parents intervened to ban it during weekly nights, had their grades plummet, in some instances from an A to C across all subjects. And then the article goes more in depth and whatnot, but honestly that's really all I need to see. So here's the main problem that I see with this is when I was growing up I remember my favorite game of all time had to be Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. I used to play Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 honestly like hours on end. Like I used to try to recreate Magic Mountain. I used to try and get the details right. I was downloading mods. I'd spend like maybe 3 or 4 hours. I still sometimes will find a video game that I can mod and spend like 2 or 3 hours just looking at mods, like downloading them, knowing I'm never going to use them. I know some people have done that. Or maybe it's just me. I don't know. Let me know if you do that kind of thing. But I definitely could spend hours looking at mods for certain games. But back to my main point is when I was a kid, my main issue with my parents was that they obviously didn't want me playing these games for a certain amount of time like that, like 4 or 5 hours straight. I get it. And back then, like, our computer was literally not meant to play any type of video game. Like, but I still managed to play Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. I remember I'd build like a theme park for like 4.5 hours straight, and then the computer would just like bust. And I'd learn my lesson, and I would save like every single 25 minutes playing that stupid game. And I'd play Resident Evil growing up. Like I remember buying the books from GameStop that taught me everything on how to beat Resident Evil and get all the cheats and the Tommy gun at the end of the game, unlimited rocket launcher, all that stuff. But I guess my main point here is that my parents, the way that they would handle it is they were a little strict, honestly. And I know some people have a problem with being strict with their children and whatnot, but for me, I think there's like a certain level of tolerance that you can have with your kids. And I think I missed that shot earlier when I was playing. That was complete trash. I ended up getting that guy later. Anyways, the main problem is the way that parents, I believe, handle their kids these days. And I'm no parent, believe me on that one. I'm not even close. I'm in my 20s, and by 20s I mean I'm 20 years old. And I don't have like I'm not going to say that I have this great understanding on how to be a good parent. But I've been a kid. I'm definitely more understanding than a lot of kids out there, even though I did go through my moods back when I was hitting that puberty stage and whatnot. Me and my dad used to argue all the time. But I learned, I believe I would like to say I learned the right way. I know many people would like to say that, and who knows if I'm right or wrong. I think there's a right way to go about a lot of things. And I don't think that these parents are always going with the right punishments when it comes to these kinds of kids, or the right treatments. I know some parents will let their kids scream and cry, and you got to ask yourself, like, what did you do to get to the point where your kid is literally like addicted to the game in the first place? Like, I get it, it's a very addicting game, but like, did you always let them play at first, like, I don't know, like 10-15 hours a day? Did you ever try to limit it in the beginning? Did they used to play games before this and you're just now finding out they're just now getting into Fortnite or something like that? I don't know what the scenario is with a lot of these kids. But from my understanding, a lot of these kids were already gamers. They were already playing Call of Duty or something like that, or any of the other games. I know my brother was playing Call of Duty, and now he's hooked on Fortnite. Who isn't? I definitely am. I'm not going to lie. The thing is, a lot of parents think that Fortnite, because of all these articles and whatnot, it sheds a really bad light on the game itself, on the community itself, to be honest. Like, I mean, I know some kids aren't even allowed to watch like streamers like that. I've heard that from some people. Like, they don't let their kids watch streams anymore. The reason I hear that is because I would tell people that I wanted to start streaming, and they would say, oh, like, that's cool and all, but my kids aren't allowed to watch streams because they get addicted and that's all they do. They need to focus on school and stuff. And I get that, like, kids should be focused on school, but there's a certain level of like when I was a kid, I did all my homework. If I did all my reading and whatnot that day, I was able to play games. And I think that's the right way to go about these kinds of things. And in truth, with what I was talking about, shedding a bad light on the video game itself or the gaming community itself, I don't think it's the right way to portray things. I don't. In truth, I believe, and I mean strongly, I believe there is a lot more good in video games, especially online competitive video games. There's a lot more good in it than the media or certain people make it out to be. I think the video games are, for some people, very good for their children. I mean, truthfully, when I was growing up, it wasn't until my friend took me to his house and I started playing Halo 3, and it was my very first multiplayer online game, and my god, I was literally blown away by it. Like, there was literally nothing like it at the time. It wasn't like my Resident Evil, it wasn't like Roller Coaster Tycoon, although I could relate with a lot of people on Roller Coaster Tycoon. the thing was, I met so many people online. I wanted to get good at the game. I wanted to meet new people. I wanted to create squads, and we would go into forge mode and build these tracks. And I mean, like, my parents would catch me laughing so freaking hard at like 1 in the morning. And yeah, it would bother them sometimes because my dad was working graveyards at the time. But also, like, they didn't mind because I was having a blast, and they loved that. And that's the thing, is like, obviously your kids are having fun. Is it toxic in some situations? Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, the online community can be toxic, but I mean, there's some kids that I've played with recently, even on Fortnite. There's this kid specifically, his name, I don't want to say his name, but he's a younger kid, maybe like if you had to guess, like 8 or 10 years old. And this kid, like when I play online, I love playing with my older friends. Like, my friends are in the military and whatnot, they swear and stuff like that, like, and I don't stream with them because I don't want them cussing on stream and stuff. But the ones that understand, they decide not to cuss. And for that reason, like, I've been able to actually play with these kids. And when I do play with them, I mean, these kids' laughter is like the reason some of us, or some people, would love to stream. And because these kids, honestly, like, they are the future, and they are our fans. They're the reason why so many people have, you know, full-time jobs as streamers, is these little kids. And their laugh is so motivating, and the way they talk and the way that they look up to you is such a good thing. And I just love that. And people don't talk about that on the news. People don't talk about these certain things that the kids go through. They just never mention it because for them it's all bad. It's all bad news. But in reality, there's games that, the online multiplayer games, they help these kids with anxiety. They help them build these friendships, these teamwork exercises. I know there are other people that know that. I know there are other people that feel the same way, but don't talk about it for some reason. I mean, I talk about it amongst my gaming friends who agree with me. And the thing is they're not the ones that matter. It's the parents, it's the families, it's the media. They're the ones that need to talk about the positives and whatnot. I remember seeing this doctor who said that he did not ground his kids from playing, and he did not restrict them. Instead, he started playing with them, and that's like the best thing. Honestly, like, if you are so tired of your kids playing games, but you do not want to take them to the park, you do not want to take them to, you know, Six Flags or something like that, or on like a small little vacation, you don't have the time, the energy, or the money, or anything like that, but all your kid does is play Fortnite, and you get mad at them for it, play it with them. Like, you wonder why it's so addicting for these kids. Play it with them. Have a good time. Get to understand why they are enjoying this game so much. There is nothing like a top 5 feeling. I like to consider myself good at the game. I've learned a lot. I have better editing skills. I have better building skills than most. In fact, I actually went and built my PC specifically because of this game. I'm not joking. I'm not exaggerating. That might sound pretty bad, but I had the money, and I had the school, the education, and whatnot to do it. So I decided I'd do it. Anyways, the main point is I think people need to go about these situations a little differently and shine a more positive light on the gaming scene. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that I missed on the positivity, all this stuff. Let me know what you relate on. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, turn those notifications on if you like the video. It encourages me to do a lot more. Thank you.